Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here to bring the 10-game NBA main slate on Monday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. I hope your guys' Sunday went well for NFL and NBA. For me, not so much. A very, very forgettable day, but the good thing with DFS is, again, there's always another slate. If you guys are unable to watch these YouTube videos, I also upload on Apple Podcasts. Link down below. It's called the DK DFS Show. If you're interested in signing up for premium content, I offer 3 different packages on Patreon.com: esports, NBA, and NFL package. With the NFL and the NBA package, I cover each showdown slate and the main slate. And the sponsor of this video is Thrive Fantasy. So Thrive Fantasy is a player prop site where you can go build out a lineup. So choose 10 of the 20 available props. You see, for the contest tomorrow, they already have stuff up. You choose 10 of these 20, either over or under, and each prop is assigned a fantasy value for both the over and the under based on how likely it is to hit. So like if the over, like say the under is 105 here and the over is 95 for Harden's 21.5 points, obviously the over is more likely to hit, so you get a little bit less points. The under is a little bit less likely to hit, but if it does hit, you get more points. And hit the most points to win, and you can win top prize. Thrive has over $30,000 in guaranteed prizes weekly for NBA and has awarded over $6 million. So yeah, these are the 20 props up right now. Let's see. So they have Giannis, 43.5 points, rebounds, assist. The under you get, or the under is a little bit more likely here. And I think I know why, because the likelihood that game does blow out. So if you are confident that the Magic keep this game competitive, then I think you want to go the over there in Giannis, right? Because I think the reason that's juiced a little bit towards the under is because there's a pretty good chance this game does not stay competitive, right? It really didn't. Last game they played 2 days ago, and the Orlando bench, I should say, brought it back, so Giannis had to come back in. But yeah, guys, make sure if you do want to try out Thrive, you can sign up using my code DKDFS. It is DKDFS, all one word. You will get a 100% match up to $100. I will have a link down below. And finally, I want to thank you guys again for your continued support on the videos, the live streams. Appreciate all you guys coming to check out the early NFL live stream today. Hope you guys did well. Hope you avoided the Dallas stack. I did not. I lost all my money. So, yay. But all right, so before we get into players and their prices for this 10-game slate, let's look back my lineup here from tonight. Okay, so let's take a look at these Vegas odds. Hornets and Wizards, a 214.5 over under. The Wizards are 3.5 point favorites. Pacers and Bulls, a 208 over under. The Bulls 3.5 point favorites. And the Suns and the Spurs, a 219.5 over under. The Suns are currently 6 point favorites. So I'll start off on the Brooklyn side. We do have Kevin Durant coming back for this one. So Kevin Durant and Harden, at their respective price points, neither really stand out. They're both secondary options for me. I would slightly prefer KD to Harden for the $600 discount. We do obviously still have Kyrie out. Joe Harris is still out. Bruce Brown is out. And Claxton is still out too. So they are a little bit thin. Aldridge at 5K was one of the more popular plays last slate. He got there. I mean, he didn't do great, but he got 24 fantasy points. I'm thinking we get somewhere around low to mid-20s minutes for Aldridge. Cleveland likes running a bigger front court, so maybe this is a game you could see Aldridge a little bit more. Like last time they played Cleveland, he actually played 30 minutes and smashed. So I do have some interest in Aldridge, again, a good point per minute guy. Patty Mills expect big minutes, probably 30 to 35. He's not a super high usage guy. Will definitely take a backseat to Harden and Durant, but the minutes will be there, perfectly fine going to him for value. Blake Griffin at 4.3. The minutes, haven't been great in him this season. He's not out of play, but doesn't really stand out to me. Now, James Johnson had a really big game last game, but that was because Kevin Durant was out. So, I'm not sure how many minutes James Johnson gets with Kevin Durant back in this lineup, right? And then Bembry started. He played 41 minutes. I think those minutes go down a bit too. So, the starters for Brooklyn should be Harden, Durant, Patty Mills, Blake Griffin, and then I'm not sure who else they start. They could maybe move Aldridge in the starting lineup. Maybe they throw Bembry in there again. I expect JEVON Carter to get some solid minutes too. He's the flat min price. So monitor the starting lineup there for Brooklyn, but definitely some potential plays here. Let's move on to Cleveland. So Cleveland still no Evan Mobley. Chetty Osman's doubtful, and Sexton is unfortunately out for the year for them. We do have Jarrett Allen and Lauri Markkanen back. I have not seen anything on a minutes limit yet for either of them. Jarrett Allen, this is a revenge game narrative against his former team. As long as there's no limitations here, I'm fine going to him. Like, he should be able to feast against this Brooklyn Nets front court. The two guards in Garland and Rubio, assuming they both start, I think we get mid-30s minutes for both. Rubio had a bad game last game, but other than that, he's been really consistent this year. Garland's turned it on of late. I like both guards, maybe a slight preference to Rubio for the discount. Kevin Love at 5'8", he's not playing big minutes. He's coming out of the bench and playing low 20s. So until I see those minutes tick up, right now he's just a GPP play. Dean Wade is out of play for me with Lauri Markkanen coming back. Again, Lauri Markkanen, monitor the news. Assuming there's no limitations, I think we would go right back to his 30 to 35 minutes, which would make him a pretty decent play at that price. Okay, Charlotte and Washington. So on the Charlotte side, Washington's actually been pretty solid defensively. I'll start with LaMelo Ball at 10.2K. I think a relatively safe option. He's playing big minutes right now in competitive games, like 35 plus. He's stuffing the stat sheet. Triple-double last game. Again, a guy can do it in many different ways, so no issue going to LaMelo Ball. Bridges had a big game last game. He's been a little more up and down recently, but he's definitely been their second-best player this year, and I think more of a secondary play on this slate. Hayward, Rozier don't really stand out. They're more tournament-only plays. Washington, once again, is doubtful, so Mason Plumlee probably gets somewhere around 25 minutes at 4.5K. I think he's a fair value play. And then Oubre is the higher risk, high reward play off the bench. The minutes can fluctuate on him, but he does have upside, so I'm intrigued by him for GPPs. I don't think I get to anyone else on the Charlotte side. Moving on to Washington. So Washington, Brad Beal at 9.3. Not out of play, but I don't the couple big games he's had this year is when Dinwiddie was out, so I have a hard time prioritizing Beal. And then Dinwiddie and Kuzma don't really stand out at their respective price points. Gafford's back, so Harrell doesn't really stand out. I would rather play Gafford over Harrell, but Gafford's always in foul trouble, so that's just a headache you got to get ready to deal with if you do play Gafford. Denny Advia, I will mention when I finally buy into Denny Advia, he has negative 0.5 points at half. I fade 22 fantasy points in 27 minutes. Is that just, again, DFS in a nutshell? But he's been getting more minutes of late. I think he's viable GPP play, but not something you can feel good about for cash games because he's pretty scoring independent. Houston and Boston. So Kevin Porter Jr. questionable. Pretty significant news here. They've been starting Eric Gordon in his place. Let's start with Christian Wood, though. 7.6K. So, again, I'll mention, I played Christian Wood in a competitive game against OKC. Only plays 29 minutes. The next night, game stays close. He goes right back to his 37 minutes. That's why I was so tilted about that. I was like, hey, we lost 8 minutes of Christian Wood because the coaches decided to limit his minutes. Obviously, he wasn't shooting the ball well, but just play your best players' normal minutes. But yeah, assuming this game stays competitive, I think we get about 37 minutes from Christian Wood, which I think does make him a good play. I think the ownership won't be as high after he was a chalk bust a couple sites ago. If KPJ is out, it's going to be a lot of Eric Gordon and Jalen Green handling the ball. Gordon's 5K. The minutes have ticked way up in him, 39, 37 minutes. So I would like Eric Gordon a decent amount. And then Jalen Green at 4.7. Minutes have gone up a little bit on him, 2.36 the last couple games. Both guys look decent. Maybe a small preference to Eric Gordon over Green. Sean Tate's role doesn't really change a ton. He's still a good defender that should play over 30 minutes. Fine with him, but not a priority play. And then I'll continue to mention Sengun at 4K. The minutes can fluctuate in him a bit, but I think usually he's going to get around 20 minutes, and he's very productive when he's on the court, so always in play for GPPs. And then if you're into Daniel Tice revenge game, if he starts again, sure, you can use him. He's not the best point per minute guy, but he is sub 4K. On the Boston side, so it looks like Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams are coming back, which makes it tricky because with both these guys coming back, you have a lot of the Celtics priced up from when they were out. So honestly, it might just be a stay away for me for Boston. Like, there's no one that really stands out. A lot of these guys are priced up. Keep an eye if there's going to be limitations on Brown and Williams. If they're going to like take it easy on their minutes the first game back, then just kind of cross off the whole team. If Robert Williams comes back and there's no limitations, he would probably be my favorite play at 6-1. But yeah, this team in general is very, very priced up. I think Richardson is playable. Like, he's been playing mid-20s minutes really no matter what. So I think you could do worse value. He's only 3.4K. OKC in Atlanta. The big news is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is currently questionable. If he misses, that would increase the chance this game does not stay close. But if Shai misses, Josh Giddey is going to have to do a lot more on the offensive end. Would like him a decent amount here. Minutes have been pretty secure around low 30s. So would like Giddey to get him out there. And then it'll be interesting to see who they start. Do they move a guy like Ty Jerome in the starting lineup? Or do they throw like a wing like Kenrich Williams in there and just move, Giddey more to the point? They can go a couple different ways here. So if Shai misses, we'll have to see what they do with the starting lineup. Guys like Dort, Bazley will get a little bit of a boost. Robinson Earl, whether he's been starting or not, has been getting like mid-20s minutes. I think he's actually a fair value play, playing a lot at the center position. He is power forward eligible, which is nice. And I mentioned potential value in guys like maybe Jerome, maybe Kenrich Williams. If one of those guys pick up a start for SGA, you can look there. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander himself, if he does play, he's in play for tournaments. The price has come down. He's riskier this year because he's not handling the ball as much. So the floor is lower. But if he does play and the Thunder keep this game competitive, it's probably because of a pretty big game from Shai. On the Atlanta side, so Trae Young, 9-4, really good spot here. I like him a good amount for tournaments. Wouldn't touch him in cash games. The two bigs I like a good amount too. Like, Capella should be able to feast against his front court. He wasn't foul trouble last game, only played 24 minutes and smashed. And then John Collins, we know, is in foul trouble a lot too. But again, the front court, like both these Hawks bigs, I think should be able to have their way. But Donovich has been questionable the last few games. I think he plays more of a secondary option. I think I prefer Herter actually at 4-2. The minutes have been pretty secure for him, low 30s. I think he's a decent value play. The only downside with Kevin Herter is he's pretty reliant on the scoring. And you have guys like Gallinari, Reddish off the bench. I do think are potential values, more GBP plays, because I don't know if I can necessarily trust the minutes. But I think both those guys at their price points in a good matchup are definitely in play at 4K and 3.6K. All right, Indiana and Chicago. So Sabonis, 8-7. Well, we had a couple weird games here, right? This is a game where all the starters got benched, and this is a game where he was just absolutely smashing, and then the game blew out. So the usage has been a little bit up and down in Sabonis this year, which even at this price point, I still think makes him a little bit risky. But like, if we get the usage we got last game from Sabonis, I really like him at this price. Again, minutes have been a little bit up and down on him too, but he's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, and the Bulls are thin in the front court right now. So I do like Sabonis a good amount. I think there's a little bit more risk though. Brogdon at 7-3, that seems like a really good price point to me. Again, random game where they just bench the starters and blow out. So like more often than not, Brogdon's going to play like 37 minutes. And at only 7.3K, I like that price for Brogdon a decent amount. The rest of the Pacers secondary options, guys like Turner, LeVert, McConnell, Duarte, not much else here. All right, on the Chicago side, the Vucevic is still going to be out. DeRozan, Levine, both in play. I mean, these are going to be the two high usage guys in this offense. DeRozan went for almost 50 against the Knicks. Levine went for about 40. Again, these are the two guys that are going to get a ton of shot attempts up, and it's a better matchup here against the Pacers. So I have interest in both the Bulls spend up, so I'd say both are more GPP plays for me. Lonzo Ball at 6'9". Again, the minutes are there, but the production's up and down. Again, tournament-only play. Caruso at 5'2". He's been getting big minutes, but the price, it feels about right. I think Coby White finally had a solid game off the bench in 21 minutes, but I need to see him play a little bit more before I can pay almost 5K for him. This is a big front court, so maybe Tony Bradley has to play more. Like, I don't know if they can limit him to under 20 minutes. Maybe he has to play mid-20s minutes in this game, so a little bit of interest there. They can go small, like Derrick Jones Jr., Javonte Green, but like I just don't really trust the Bulls' secondary pieces. Magic and Bucks, as I mentioned, Cole Anthony is questionable. If he can't go, then they most likely start Gary Harris. And then if he can't go, that will increase the chance of a blowout. The two bigs, Bamba, Carter Jr., if you're confident this game stays competitive, I don't mind either of these guys. Like Carter Jr. was in some foul trouble, but 5'7", if he plays like over 30 minutes, he can definitely pay off that salary. And Mo Bamba's been pretty consistent too. Last game was a blowout, so a little bit of interest there. Like if you're targeting Giannis, maybe you can go to one of these bigs. Suggs would be the guy that would be like a priority play for me if Cole Anthony's out, because then he would run the point and gets a massive bump there. Only played 25 minutes because of the blowout, so would like Suggs a good amount. They started Gary Harris for some reason. I don't know why. We also have Gary Harris questionable, so if he can't go, do they actually start RJ Hampton, who absolutely smashed in garbage time? I originally had him in my lineup and then pivoted off. Now, he only played like 8-10 minutes in the first half, so like, he wasn't on pace for big minutes, but just played like all the garbage time and then almost brought the Magic back. So keep an eye on the starting lineup there. If Cole Anthony's out and RJ Hampton starts, I would like him a good amount there for value. Franz Wagner was a chalk bust last slate, but I think in a competitive game, he plays over 30 minutes, so he's decent value too at only 4-1. And I think you can make the argument for Terrence Ross too. Should play closer to that 30-minute mark. He is kind of reliant on the scoring, but if we get 30 minutes from him, I think there's a decent chance he can pay off that salary. So I mentioned Giannis and Thrive, right, at 12K. If you're confident that the Magic keep this game close, then I like him a lot at the top, right? Because like he came back in the fourth quarter after the game was a blowout because the Magic brought it close. He went for a 70 bomb, so he can just smash. So if you're really confident the Magic keep this game close, then I think you want to target a guy like Giannis. Middleton, Drew, not for me. Bobby Portis also had a really big game. He's been playing around 30 minutes. You know, the price point doesn't really stand out, but the ceiling is still there for him. So I think I'm okay with going to Bobby Portis for tournaments, but I'm not touching anyone else here on the Bucks. All right, a few games left, Minnesota and the Pelicans. So this is a good spot here for the Timberwolves. The big three all in play. I think my favorite option being D'Angelo Russell, only 7-6. He's playing big minutes right now, competitive games, about 35. He's getting a ton of shot attempts up and handling the ball a decent amount. And again, I like the spot here. Cat's been up and down, but like this is a good spot here against Jonas Valanciunas. Ant-Man been a little bit up and down too, but that price has come down to 7-4. So the big three all in play. Pat Beverly continues to play, around 30 minutes in competitive game. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. The price is coming up, so he's no longer a smash play, but I do think he's still viable. The issue is he's only point guard eligible, and what is the opportunity cost of playing him at one of your point guard slots? Vanderbilt's been starting. He's actually stayed out of foul trouble the last couple games. I think he's a decent value play, a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. However, he is prone to foul trouble. So, like, if you play Vanderbilt, get ready to tilt some fouls. That's probably it for Minnesota. On the Pelicans side, so Jonas Valanciunas, back-to-back really big games. I mean, he was on pace to absolutely crush there against the Pacers, and they just got destroyed. In 23 minutes, he went for 40 fantasy points. Even with Ingram in the lineup, back-to-back big games for Jonas Valanciunas. And now he gets Karl-Anthony Towns, so I'm not super scared of on the defensive end. So I do like JV a good amount. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, I think we get 35-ish minutes. So I like me some JV. I think Ingram's fine under 8K. He should play close to 40 minutes in competitive game. I think the ownership will be low on him. But I do expect this game to be played at a relatively fast pace. Devonte Graham's questionable. That's pretty big if he can't go. Usage bump to NAW. $27, $38, $36, $43. I'm thinking, oh, man, Josh Hart, wow. Is he just like a different player now? Is he actually like really good? Okay, let me buy into him in a good spot against the Pacers. Let me finally buy in Josh Hart. 12. He's look at these stats. Look at these stats last like 19, 10, 4, couple steals, just absolute stuff in the stat sheet. Rebounds, 11 assists this game. I buy into him, 7 points, 2 boards, that's it. They started Satoransky last couple of games, but he hasn't done much with those starts. Kira Lewis been getting some minutes off the bench too. He had a big game 2 games ago. Probably would rather roll the dice in Kira than Satoransky, but I don't know if we have to go to either of those min-price point guards. Again, like I said, the minutes on NAW have been down a bit. Shots have still been there, but he's been struggling with a shot lately, so not much else there for the Pelicans. Moving on to the Suns and the Spurs. So this is a really good spot here for the Suns. Both Booker and Paul in play. Paul, more of your cash game play, a little bit of a higher floor. Again, last game was a blowout there for Denver. And again, I had a lot of Denver exposure, and I also had Aaron Gordon get ejected. Yay. Devin Booker is your ceiling play. A little bit of a lower floor, but the higher ceiling. And then DeAndre Ayton at 7-1. I mean, he's been playing really well of late. I think he plays mid-30s minutes if the game stays close. So I think he's a pretty safe option. And then the wings like Bridges, Crowder, Cam Johnson are fine secondary options. On the Spurs side, so DeJounte Murray at 9.2K. I don't think he's a cash game play. You know, look at the last 4 games, 25, 61, 60, 23. So the floor is low with DeJounte, but he is a guy that is their highest usage guy. He does have triple-double upside, and the prices come down a little bit on him. So I do have some interest there in DeJounte for tournaments. Jakob Poeltl, keep an eye on the news here. So they said he was on a minutes restriction last game. If there's no limit for Poeltl here, I think we go back to his like 30-plus minutes. If that's the case, I like him a good amount. Now, will we get that news? So again, keep an eye on this. Hopefully Popovich gives us that news. If there's no limitations, I like Poeltl. The rest of the Spurs I'm probably going to stay away from, though. I just don't think I want to mess with the secondary options. Like one of these like wings of like McDermott, Lonnie Walker, Vassell is going to have a good game, Keldon Johnson, but just good luck trying to figure out which one's going to be. All right, Memphis and Utah. So tough spot here for Memphis, but Melton is out and Dylan Brooks is doubtful. So John Morant, 9-7, you know, is going to be highest usage guy in his offense. Should play 35-plus minutes if the game stays close. I like him for tournaments. Triple J, always, you know, again, a guy that's in foul trouble almost every single game. He does have upside, but I don't know if I want to deal with that in a 10-game slate. Now, there is some interesting value play. So Kyle Anderson started last game. He was the absolute chalk. He was 100% owned in the Thunderdome, and it was a massive bust. He was someone I was super scared about fading last slate. I got very lucky with it. If he starts again, I think he's a good value. He's a guy who can stuff the stat sheet. So would like Slow-Mo, would like Bane too at 4.9. You know, would have to do more on the offensive end. So those two guys would look decent. Steven Adams, this is a big front court against the Jazz. So I'm thinking this is a game where Steven Adams has to play more. If I knew Steven Adams was for sure going to play 30 minutes, I would like him a good amount here for value. And then I'll mention Tyus Jones. You know, he did well in 18 minutes last game, but that was partly due to the blowout. He played a couple minutes next alongside John Morant to end the first half, but that was really it. So that's my worry with a guy like Tyus Jones is, yes, he has upside, but like I'm not sure how much they want to play him alongside John Morant. On the Utah side, so when Utah's fully healthy, there's never really anyone that stands out. I think Mitchell and Gobert are the two guys that look to. Mitchell, you know, competitive game, should play mid-30s minutes, is the guy that has the highest ceiling. Gobert, pretty safe option, should play low 30s minutes. So both those guys look decent, but the rest are just secondary options. Conley, Bogdanovich, Clarkson, O'Neal, Ingles. If you think the game blows out, you can look to Whiteside, who you know, is a good point per minute guy at only 4K. But again, the Jazz are just such a boring team. Rudy Gay now in the rotation too. He probably plays 15 to 18 minutes, but yeah, the Jazz are always just secondary options for me. Finally, Philadelphia. So Tobias Harris, actually, I don't think it was Doc Rivers, guys, because they don't have most of his questionable DraftKings, but I saw an Underdog, they have most of his questionable. So it looks like that's why he left the game with 2.5 minutes to go. Cost me thousands of dollars in the late slate last night, so pretty tilted about that. But yeah, if Tobias Harris is good to go, I like him at 8-1 because he's going to play mid-30s minutes and going to be their top option offense. And I would like Maxey a good amount too. He's just playing big minutes, been super high usage. Those two would look good. Man, what has happened to Drummond recently? Like, Drummond's like a good point per minute guy, and he's just fallen off a cliff these last 3 games. Now, this could be a get-right spot against Sacramento, but I'm not confident he plays big minutes. Like, Philadelphia could definitely go small. So that's my worry there with Drummond. And then you have secondary options, guys like Curry, Milton, Niang, Korkmaz, all viable if Danny Green is out. I don't think he'll be back. Niang's been starting. If he starts again at only 4.2, I think he's a good value. And then again, guys like Milton, Curry, Korkmaz all viable too. Thibault came back, played limited minutes. Keep an eye if there's a limitation for him. If there's no limitation at 3.2, he's viable. But again, he gets his fancy points basically solely from blocks and steals. And finally, Sacramento. Not a ton that stands out. I mean, De'Aaron Fox is fine for tournaments. The price to come down to a playable point at 7.6, but like, he still has a floor. He definitely still has a floor. Barnes at 6.3, I'm okay with. Like, he should play low to mid-30s minutes. It's Harrison Barnes, though. Like, Holmes does have upside if he can stay out of foul trouble, but he's prone to foul trouble. Halliburton's playing big minutes, only 5.9. I think he's a relatively safe option, but, like, the Sacramento team is just weird. There's no one that really stands out to me. So, yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the video. If you have been enjoying the content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thanks again, guys. Have a great night, and I will see you all in the next video.